Instagram Live. What's up, everybody? We're live on Facebook. Let me get my juices, because I shall need them. About to go on Instagram Live, everywhere else live. Here we go. Instagram Live. Where are you? There you are. Oh, come on. Okay, good. 1 second. What's up, everybody? We are going live right now. Why am I having a hard time with, live. Start live video. Oh, no, we're good. Start live video. Welcome, everybody. Why won't Instagram work? Am I hooked up to the right internet here? Let's take a look here. Sorry. Just a couple. I started early anyway, so. No, we're good. Instagram Live. Whatever. Looks like we can't do Instagram Live because it won't do it. We're having trouble. Yeah, I see that you're having trouble. Hello, hello, hello. Back to live. Start live video. Technical difficulties is not something I like. Here we go. And we're live on D-Live. We're live. Crystal, we live on news.therawfoodworld.com/live. Let me make sure it's working on D-Live. Yes. It's just this stupid Instagram thing is driving me nuts. Oh man, I gotta turn the volume down on that. Okay. Today we're gonna be talking about outside factors and how they impact us, impact our state and things like this. But first I'm gonna answer a few questions. And since we're here a little bit early, I'm gonna try to turn my iPad off and turn it back on. We'll do the easy turn off and turn on. Maybe that will do it. Or do I have to like seriously turn it on? Ask your questions, everybody. Start live video. Punks. Okay, so first we're going to share about how I healed my dog. I healed my freaking dog who was supposed to be dead. Dead. It's good because everybody on Instagram already heard the story, so we're good to go. Let me make sure we're live. Crystal, are we live on news.therawfoodworld.com/live? Is it? Are we? I'm refreshing just to see. Okay. I tried to be so prepared. Okay, we're good here. Okay, we're good everywhere. Okay, so I healed... Okay, so my dog, it is my fault. No, it's not my fault. No, nothing's anybody's fault. But my dog was really fat. We have retreats here in Vilcabamba, Ecuador, like many of you know. And we're going to try Instagram one more time because I reset my iPad. And live. Instagram sucks! So my dog, the vet told me that my dog was, okay, so one day my dog couldn't walk anymore. He couldn't walk. He was just sitting there, not able to walk. We were wondering what happened. We took him to the vet. He was 80 pounds. And they said that they're going to give him some medicine, and if he doesn't heal within 2 weeks, he's pretty much dead because he's not able to walk. He's only like 7 or 8 years old. Now, what's up, everybody? So the thing is, we have workers here who we do these raw food retreats. Oh, look, I'm live now on whatever. We do these raw food retreats here in Vilcabamba, Ecuador, and we have a staff. And the staff feeds my dog, and I told them just make sure you give him raw chicken and eggs. And one day I saw them, they were feeding him like an entire chicken. It was like a little out of control. I just like let things be. You know, I don't know, I'm not an expert on dogs. But anyway, what happened was my dog ended up not able to walk because he was 80 pounds. And they were like, we're going to have, you know, if your dog doesn't heal within the next 2 weeks, and it's very unlikely that he will, you know, you're going to have to put him down. And I'm like, wait a second here. Wait a second. Do you know who you're talking to? Do you know who you're talking to? You were talking to Mr. Raw Food Dude here. I'm like, nobody feed my dog ever again. I'm taking it in my own hands. So number one, my main concern was making sure that he lost weight. So the first day I fasted him, so he ate nothing except for water. But in his water, I've been putting a couple products, organosilica and quintessential, quinton. I would literally take a bowl, put half organosilica in, which is many servings, and half water. And he drinks it every single day or twice a day. And I only like give him water in distinct times. So he's like thirsty and he wants to drink the stuff. And I'll even put quintessential in there. If I forget to do this, what I would do is I put in his meal. So what he's been doing, he's been eating once a day. He's 80 pounds. An 80-pound dog needs like 1,200 calories or something like that. So what I've been doing is I've been giving him 3 egg yolks and 1 full egg. So 4 egg yolks and 1 white of 1 egg. We don't need to go into an argument of why I think egg yolks are better than egg whites, but it's just what I do. I put marine phytoplankton in there. I put oregano in there and the quintessential, and then he's really hungry, so he eats it. Once a day, he's probably lost 15 pounds already. And he started freaking walking 2 days ago. He started walking. Miracle. Straight out miracle. He started by like rolling around on his back and then started rolling he made it to the compost pit, I think, and ate all the compost because he was hungry. But anyway, he's still not perfect. He'll probably walk in here any second, but he's like slow, he's not running. But we're going to see where this goes. It's pretty cool. Very cool. Okay, so my dog is healed. We don't have to put him down. I probably wouldn't put him down anyways, so don't worry, vegans. If he couldn't walk ever again. Well, I don't know how that would work. But anyway, here we are. What's up, Jared and Lisa? Good to see you guys. Seeing if there's any questions. I don't know what that means in Spanish, and I probably don't want to know. Okay, so let's just look real quickly here at the news.therawfoodworld.com/live, see if there's any questions. And if there's no questions, we're just going to get started here in regards to outside factors. Since I shared with you about my dog, the June retreat here in Vilcabamba, Ecuador starts in a couple weeks, which we're starting to prepare for. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And if anybody's wondering, this is the products I put in my dog's water. This is a silica that is the most bioavailable silica in the world. It can help boost collagen, which is what they were saying that his bone was grinding on bone. Minerals are important for that too. So these are the same product, just different brandings. Okay, so here we go. Oh, I forgot about this. Okay. Okay, so someone's asking, before we get started, I'm just letting the viewers build up right now, if I have any advice on quitting coffee. I've gone into this before. You're obviously not on my newsletter list, because if you were, you would have gotten all the articles on how to quit coffee. But you're saying you lose the will to work and live when you don't have coffee. So you're pretty much dependent on coffee in order to have life. and to function. It's pretty crazy. Oh, you are on the newsletter list. So do you get my articles? Maybe it's going to spam or something? I don't know. But this type of thing isn't easy, but it's easy at the same time. Now, when you make an improvement by eliminating something from your intake, like coffee, you go through withdrawals. This is why it's so hard to improve our diets, because you go through the withdrawal process. Withdrawals is just a fancy name as going through detox. So you go through withdrawals, and the withdrawals is pretty intense. When you eliminate coffee, it's like, what's up, Lucy? You get the shakes, you get the headache, you get the coffee breath. It's really intense. It's extremely intense, actually. And on top of all that, all of the emotional and spiritual issues, the belief that you need this, and all these other things are coming into play, and it becomes very difficult. So we have to keep in mind that 90% of humans, Americans, and first world countries are not able to eat healthily, because when you do something like this, you go through the withdrawal process and there's a lot of suffering. And not only do you suffer on a physical, emotional, and spiritual level, on a social level, you're also going to suffer because everyone's going to think you're crazy. Like, everybody thinks I'm crazy. I'm okay with that. But I'm just saying, everybody will think you're crazy. Your family and friends are going to dispute you. And well, that's what happened to me. And it gets pretty intense here. So on all levels, most people are just going to stay with the norm and do that. And there's nothing wrong. You can eat whatever you want. There's no judging. It doesn't make anybody a better person because they eat healthier. But we all want to look beautiful. We all want to be in an ideal weight. We don't want to have diabetes. We don't want to have other degenerative diseases or skin conditions or whatever our issue is. And this is the number one thing that we can do. And if you can actually do the thing that most people in the world are not able to do, probably 90%, then you're way ahead of the curve. Way ahead of the curve. You are going to have more focus, more life force, more energy. You're going to be, if you're going out with your friends at the bar or your friends somewhere, you're going to be the youngest looking out of all of your people the same age as you. You're going to be more energetic and smiling just because you'll have the energy. I mean, there's other factors too, our spiritual health is even more important. I'm just saying that you're ahead of the curve because you have the ability to stop doing something that nobody else is willing to do. And when you stop, the suffering that we have to go through can be intense. But if you think about it, if you can endure that suffering, when you go through the withdrawals and you just want your fix so badly that, when you drink that coffee, it stops the withdrawal process, and that feels really good, while at the same time stimulating you. It's almost like you're on a drug when you take a week break off from that stuff. And then you're like, why did I stop? And then you start going back into it, and then you don't feel good because you're depleting dopamine levels. What caffeine and street drugs do, I'm not saying don't do them. They can be used for spiritual tools, but when we do it frequently and often, the issue is, what it does is it kind of takes your stores of neurotransmitters, dopamine, and stuff like that, and then it also, at the same time, which is kind of cool, it tricks the reuptake of them, so it circulates in your being, so you get this high. But so that's cool that you're tricking the uptake, but the issue is your reserves are being depleted, and it could literally take days and days to replenish them. So the issue is that we're doing these things on an ongoing basis. And when you do these things on an ongoing basis, they stop working. And you got to up your intake of coffee for it to work even better. But your stores of dopamine and other neurotransmitters are being depleted, and that's why you probably have foggy brain and things like this some of the time. You're working on stimulation. I've been raw vegan for 20 years, and there's something called natural energy that occurs once you go through detox of the coffee or whatever you're stopping eating. If you're just doing a small amount, again, there's nothing wrong in these things. I'm just trying to give you the scientific background of what is happening when you're drinking coffee and doing street drugs and stuff like this. So one thing that we can be doing is taking a product called Mucunya. and bacopa. If these are 2 medicinal herbs, Ayurvedic herbs that we have on our website. When your dopamine and neurotransmitters such as acetylcholine are being depleted through this process of stimulation and drugs and things like this, bacopa, what that will do is it will prevent acetylcholine from breaking down, so it lasts longer in your system. And acetylcholine works with dopamine. And so if your dopamine levels are down, acetylcholine is going to like shoot off many more neurotransmitters to try to raise it. So what we have to do is Mucunya has L-dopa in it, which is a precursor to dopamine. So it's kind of like a way to get more dopamine that we're depleting on an ongoing basis. So you might want to just like wean off if you're having issues. But if you think about it, if you want to be way ahead of the curve, just stop. And almost look at as to go through the suffering and pain of going through withdrawals and improving your diet or whatever you're doing as a mission, as excitement. Most people they strive for money. They strive for power, fame in their realm, or whatever it is. These things in the long run aren't that great. This is like something that can aid you in your spiritual growth because you're gonna have more energy, more life force. If you think about it, going through withdrawals or any spiritual turbulence is simply feelings and vibrations. And you're feeling them on an ongoing basis anyways, but when we start to make improvements, we're kind of like lifting the lid up and they get a bit more intense. So what we want to be doing is putting our focus in as much as possible and overcoming this. It's almost like a mission. It's like fun. And then the results are going to, as you endure and go through this, you're going to have natural energy. You're going to feel really good. You're going to become your ideal weight or whatever it is. You're going to become more beautiful. You're going to have more natural energy. In the morning, first thing I do in the morning is I drink 32 ounces of water, because what happens is we cleanse through the night and then we wake up groggy, and that the water does is it acts as a transport medium for toxins, and it will just sweep all the toxins, and that alone might make you be more energetic in itself, and then you might not need the coffee. Maybe in the beginning it's going to be pretty crazy because you're going through the withdrawals and stuff like that. Okay, so what we're going to do now, since we talked about coffee, we're going to go into... I quit smoking cigarettes 4 years from now. Coffee is probably 3 months now. Just green tea now. Yeah, you could also go do something that has less caffeine, like green tea, and then make your way and stuff like that. Okay, so here we go. What we're going to be talking about now is outside factors. Now, first we're going to talk about the placebo effect. This is critical, guys. Don't go anywhere. The placebo effect is an extremely powerful tool. It has been used to heal people from all sorts of diseases. Clinical studies or the medical journals showed it has healed people from cancer, acne, Parkinson's disease. People have had fake knee surgeries where they just cut you open and then sew you back up, and they show a TV screen of somebody else's knee being done. Same success rate as the people who got the real surgeries. Fake surgeries are healing people. IBS. Practically everything the placebo effect has healed. Based off belief, from taking something that just has no active ingredients in it, we heal from disease based off belief. Our mind, belief. It's critical. It's a huge, powerful tool. However, it's so powerful that it can actually be extremely dangerous at the same time. Because if the placebo effect can heal you from disease and work for you, it can also work against you and give you disease. So what happens a lot of the time is many of us don't feel good a lot of the time because, that's part of life. And I'm telling you today that there's outside factors that have nothing to do with your diet, have nothing to do with stress or anything else. We're going to talk about those today that can impact how you feel in any given moment. So it's completely normal for you not to feel good all the time. Our bodies are regenerating machines. They repair. They do all sorts of things. They go through ups and downs. But during the downs, it seems time goes really slow. But when you feel good, time flies. You don't even realize you're feeling good at these moments. So what happens is we don't feel good. We freak out. And we keep it to ourselves, and then we finally tell somebody, and then that just like opens up the floodgates, because now everybody's worried about you. They're telling you to go to the doctor, blah, 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 blah. So you end up, because of your being scared, even though this is completely normal. I get all sorts of symptoms. I'm a raw vegan, and sometimes I'm feeling really good, and sometimes I have crazy gas, and I'm stressed, and some crazy stuff is happening. It's completely normal. Sometimes I get a skin outbreak. What big deal? This is like the human body. This is my vehicle. It's regenerating. It's always trying to reach balance through homeostasis. And the better we treat our bodies, the easier it has to go into this balance. So it ends up going all over the place. We end up going to the hospital, and at the hospital, now we're like stressed. We're freaking out. We might actually be diagnosed with something now. This is scary. And now they're about to take your blood, and they take this needle, and they're about to put it in your arm, and you're just like, holy crap. You're even becoming more scared like freaking hell. And this blood is coming into this tube. Your adrenaline, your cortisol levels are flying all over the place. Blood levels change throughout the day. They change throughout the season. They change on your stress state. They change on what you've eaten. So they can't really be accurate on an ongoing basis. And then there's so many other things. There's stores that doctors don't know about it, like vitamin B12 storage and other storage. Thyroid levels can be different from evening to morning, season to what stress state you're in. So we go to the doctor, freaking out. Our levels are all screwed up now, and now the doctor comes to you with a piece of paper with black ink on it. And based off of this piece of paper, from your stress state, whatever these numbers are, maybe they're even off just a little bit, they diagnose you with a thyroid disorder, and they're recommending to remove your thyroid. Or they're telling you that you have 6 months to live because you have cancer and you need to do chemotherapy. Or a lot of the time, they don't even take your blood, and they're diagnosing you based off of symptoms, and they say that you need to be on medication for the rest of your life. So now the placebo effect is a very powerful tool. Based off belief, it can heal you, but now based off belief, because of the system that has been put in place by the doctors, who created the medical books? Who created that? Anyway, I've seen people heal from all sorts of diseases. I've had one person come to our retreat, in 10 days they healed diabetes. Tim Mades, who, if you're on my newsletter list, you're seeing, I'm going to put an update on him tomorrow, he healed diabetes in 10 days also. Guy at the retreat healed high blood pressure from 40 years of bad high blood pressure in 10 days. Less than 10 days. It was like a week. Diabetes and high blood pressure equals poor diet. Anyways, moving along. It's not hereditary. It means I know what's happening. There's no pill you can take for that. There's things that you can take that will help temporarily, but we really need to do something else there. So based off belief, we might even die in 6 months. I know people who've been on their deathbed who went through the chemotherapy, and they went through so much suffering, they wish they would have just stayed home and stayed with their cancer at home and died naturally. If they didn't even know they had cancer, maybe they would have lived their full life. So this is the placebo effect working against us. You're told that you have to remove a gland. You're told that you have to be on medication for your life. Tony Robbins went to the hospital. They told him that he had a tumor on his pituitary gland. And that's why he's really big. He had abnormal growth and things like this. And they told him that they needed to cut his brain open, his skull, and do surgery. And you know the success rate's not always good there, while giving him medication. You know what he said? He said, no, I don't accept the doctor's orders. I know many people who have said no to doctor's orders and have healed naturally and said, what's that, doctor? Why? So he said no to the doctor's orders. And 30 years later, he still has this tumor in his brain. Does this look like this has impacted his successful, outgoing, helping other people's life? He supposedly has cancer in his brain. Most people wouldn't be able to be strong enough to be diagnosed with something like that, to say no, and to not be freaked out and fearful about that type of thing. But that is the way to heal. To say, no, I'm healthy. So here we are. Tony Robbins said no. So how did this happen? Science doesn't really know how the placebo effect works. They think because you get out of a flight or fright state because the doctor relaxes you by saying there's something, you're healthy, so, or you take this pill so you could relax. So now all of a sudden you heal because all your adrenaline stops and all these other things. That's false, because if someone has 3 issues like a messed up knee, cancer, and high blood pressure, if they do the placebo effect just on the knee, only the knee heals. And they're in the relaxed state. If that's the case, then they would heal from everything. No. There's a world that's going on that can't be seen with the human eye. And what's going down is actually happening on a spiritual level here. That's what's happening. It's happening on a spiritual level. And we don't want to be negative placeboed into believing something is wrong with us. It's critical. So, we don't want to be negative placeboed. So what happens is we freak out that something is wrong with us. So we go to the doctor. As I said earlier, the body naturally goes through ups and downs. There are times where we're going to feel good. I personally eat the same thing every single day practically. If how we felt was based off of food, I would feel the same every single day because I'm eating the same thing every single day. About the same quantities, about the same kind of foods. I'm a raw vegan. I don't really do much besides the same things every day. It's just easy for me. But sometimes I'm feeling really good, and sometimes I'm slammed to the ground. So there are many possibilities and scenarios why you might not feel good at any moment in time. And we're about to go into some mind-blowing things, but some obvious ones would be like, maybe you're stressed. Maybe you didn't get enough sleep. Maybe you were eating poorly this week. These are just some possibilities and scenarios that could be influencing our state in any given moment, and there's no need to freak out about these things. It's completely normal. Okay, so now we're going to go into other outside factors that can impact our state, our physical, emotional, and spiritual state. And a lot of these factors are invisible to the human eye. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start with some more obvious ones. I'm waiting a little bit. I kind of ate late today, so I have this thing where I think my food needs to digest. See, I've got my little quirks also. Okay, one obvious one is EMF radiation from cell phone towers, phones, computers, all these different things. This is invisible matter. You can't see it with the human eye that can actually impact how you feel at any given moment. And in clinical studies, and it's been proven that this type of thing has a negative impact on our health and how we feel in any given moment. If I put a cell phone to my head, I get a headache. That's an obvious one. All right, I'm gonna just do it. I can't even speak. Okay. Another example of invisible factors that are kind of obvious would be lunar cycles, like full moon, new moon, and also geomagnetic fields. So there have been studies showing that during new moon and full moon that our moods and behaviors change. And actually they did a study where they looked at the crime rates during full moon and new moon, and the crime rates are way higher. That might be because of the werewolves. No, I don't know. But, so that has an impact on us. There was another clinical study where they looked at in casinos, where they looked at the lunar cycles, and they discovered that people had higher payouts during the full moon and new moon. And they came to the conclusion was that it gave them more focus to where they paid attention to the game more, which increased their, I guess you could say, manifesting abilities due to that focus and attention. Because we all know, through the law of attraction, the way we get something that we want is we put all of our attention and focus in order to trying to get it, which is very difficult for a lot of us to do. However, for things that we don't want, it's very easy to put all of our focus and attention to. For example, when you have a disease, you freak out and you worry about it. You just continually loop it in your head. You're worried about your weight. You're worried about the wrinkles on your face. You're worried about your disease, your skin breakouts, whatever it is. And effortlessly, you put all of your energy and attention into that. It's like, it's almost like it's hard to stop. So according to the law of attraction, when you are worried about your weight, you are manifesting that because you can't stop it. So it's critical in every single moment when you're worrying to stop, or you are actually manifesting what you don't want. So focus on the things you do want if you want that to work. So a planetary magnetic field occurs from invisible forces on the Earth's magnetosphere. So here we have the Earth, and there's all of these solar energies and things happening on an ongoing basis, creating a geomagnetic flux, which is pretty much a magnetic flux is like an energy field that could be on the Earth in any given space and time, in any given space, to where that can impact the clinical study we just showed about the casino, and then I'm going to explain some more about geomagnetic forces, can actually impact how you're feeling in any given moment. So these fluxes can be in all situated throughout the Earth. And you could literally be driving through one city, experiencing like crazy things happening from this geomagnetic field on the Earth, and then all of a sudden you leave out of the city into like another area, to where all of a sudden that shifts. You leave from one magnetic flux into another magnetic flux, to where the impact on this one on your body is completely different than this one. You might be like feeling really good here, and then all of a sudden it gets really intense. Or you might be feeling really bad here, and then all of a sudden you drive past somewhere and you're feeling really good now. We don't want to be freaking out. These are invisible forces that are impacting you. There's no need to freak out when you're not feeling good all the time. So an example of this would be if you're in the city and it's, you want to get out of the city every once in a while, especially if you're living in it, and you're driving into nature, all of a sudden you reach nature, you just take this deep breath and you're like, the relaxation, because you just went through this crazy magnetic flux of the city that has all sorts of radiations, a lot of people that have good intentions. You're now going into nature where nobody is. There's negative ions that block off EMF radiation. It's called ionization. All sorts of things are happening when you do something like this. But other examples of energetic experiences on locations can be like, just to give this understanding into your mind, like if you were to go to a bar, if you were to go to church, if you were to go to Disneyland, if you were to go to Las Vegas, each one of these are completely different examples. For example, if you go to a church, if you enter in, it's really quiet. The magnetic flux in there is some sort of like peaceful feeling, I guess you could say, when you're in there. But when you go to Las Vegas, you're sitting there and the energy is more intense and you feel a lot of sexual energy there. Or you go to a bar and there's a lot of like wanting to party. There's some people are longing. Some people are, it's just like it's like, wow, it's a completely different magnetic flux. If you go to Disneyland or some other theme park, you probably will experience certain feelings and vibrations in Disneyland, and then you leave, and then you come back 5 years later, you might experience the same feelings and sensations that you felt the first time, or any theme park. So wherever you go, there's different magnetic fluxes. So, okay, so now, these are all invisible factors that can impact our health anytime. It's not just about food. There's nothing wrong with you. We just have to get through the time period of when you're not feeling good to where you're feeling good again. And I don't know if you guys remember, Elise, I did an interview on YouTube with. She's lost like 80 pounds now doing a raw vegan diet. She came to one of our retreats. She was hearing me talk about this concept, and all of a sudden she got a stiff neck, a sore neck. She got burning sensations all throughout her body. She got some sort of intracranial sound. She was freaking out completely. There was other sensations, I just can't remember them all. And she was worried that she had Lyme's disease or Zika virus. Whenever someone tells me they have Lyme disease or Zika virus, I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Most of these things are based off of symptoms. You can't even prove that you have something. But anyway, she remembered this, and she said no, and then she pushed through it, didn't worry about it, and she went through the time period, because you have to wait, you have to go through it. It's just going through a state until it's over. It's like the ringing of a bell, like bong, gong, 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 gong. And you don't want to freak out when you're in that bell, because you might bang your head on something or something. You just want to do your best, try to stay calm, and now you're spiritually passing through this magnetic flux, or whatever you want to call it. We're going to talk a little bit more about this. And then she got through it, and she was completely fine. No physical issues. And she got an understanding through pushing through this to where she will never go through this again. Anytime she starts to experience it, she knows the process. She has more freedom in her life because she will never worry, if she chooses at least, will never worry about these physical ailments ever again, because she feels like she leveled up physically and spiritually after this incident. You can check the video out on my YouTube channel. So here we are in the city going into nature. These are magnetic fluxes that impact how we actually feel in any moment. So now going into like a more spiritual belief, religion, all these different, I just want to give some examples. In shamanistic traditions, they state that people walk through different serpent realms, which can impact many emotional, physical, and spiritual feelings. And they state that these serpents can be as big as a huge small city. So once you walk into it, you would feel, the shamans will say that you would feel this thing like the bell we were talking about. And then you go into, you could seriously be walking, and then all of a sudden you walk into another one, and then it shifts. Now, if you're going to look at Christianity, they're stated that there's demons, serpents, rudivipers, and other spiritual creatures that can also impact how we feel in any given moment. We can literally be, from these concepts, be spiritually attacked at any moment in time. I'm not saying this is true. I'm just saying, like, just if you believe in any of these religions or beliefs or cultures, that this is just like common knowledge within them. So a lot of the time, we go into worry worry does nothing for us. If you worry about money, it's not going to give you more money. So it's almost like you go into pain and suffering for no apparent reason. It's useless to worry. So what we have to do is, like, when worry comes in, don't accept it based off of the fear of money or whatever your reasoning for worrying is, because regardless of what your worry thoughts are, the worry suffering that you're going through is the same exact thing, whether you're worrying about money, your weight, or whatever it is. You can think about money and your weight without going into worry. The key is to spiritually grow and to get more freedom like Elise got, is to literally do everything in your power not to worry, as one example of many things. Greed, or you're excited about like an MLM or some sort of like financial platform that everybody's raving about, and you're not there and you worry about it, like, oh, like, this is like, we're kind of like, it kind of drains us, and then it gives us less force to succeed in what we're doing. But anyways, moving along. So you guys remember, we're trying to realize that there are so many possibilities and scenarios on why we might not feel good in any moment and given time. And the key is not to worry about it, not to freak out, and submit yourself to the doctor to where you're going to be negative placebo affected to where you're going to have this pharmaceutical drug or a disease for the rest of your life. We got to do everything in our power to stop this. So now we're going to talk about a few more clinical studies. There was this guy, I think his name was Tiller, Dr. William Tiller. You can look it up online. He did a study where he took 286 meditators, and he took a glass of water, put it in a room that was like it had double steel walls. It was secure. From thousands of miles away, what they did was they all the meditators tried to raise the pH of the water. And so all these people, 286 people's attention was trying to raise the pH of this water. And the glass of water's pH raised based off of these people's intent of trying to do that. And what they further discovered was once the meditators stopped and the experiment was over, they brought another glass of water in the room and the pH rose. So now what these meditators did was they conditioned a room to have an impact on this water. We're 70% water, or 90, I don't even know what we are. We're water bodies. So if we went in that room, our pH would rise, most likely. So outside factors can impact an actual space and condition a room. So that's just absolutely crazy. So there was another experiment. We all know about